YouTube void, what's going on? How is your week? Happy April. Hi, my name is Rachel. I'm an artist slash part-time reseller that makes part-time pay slash person who is obsessed with sustainability, saving things from the landfill, climate change is real, and rolling all of that into one fun YouTube series that, quite frankly, nobody has asked for and nobody's watching. So, there you go. Oh, and also sprinkling a little empathic capitalism on all of it as well. What is empathic capitalism, you may ask? Good question, because I made it up. Basically, what it means is that besides wanting to make money, because, we all believe in capitalism, it also is a belief that there is a responsibility to others and to those around us by not only providing a good product, but also by giving back and taking care of those around us.
Here! Waste of time. Nothing will save this show.
Is it working or is it successful? Not right now, but we're working on it. A couple weeks ago, I mentioned the whole montage thing, back in the 70s, 80s, 90s, maybe early 2000s. There was a long stretch of time where a lot of movies, where the hero goes on a journey and something happens, something bad happens, and then they get their life back together. And it's like a series with music usually where you watch the person doing the mundane things that get them to where they want to go. Let's say they want to be a great singer, so you see them working at practicing their music and sending their tapes in and all this fun stuff. Rocky was the one that I referenced last time, but there's a million of them. And the reason why it's a montage and not part of the movie is that journey, the part where you're actually putting in the work, is freaking boring. And so they have to put some really great music to it and show it in clips so you see that they put in the work, but they're not going to show you them putting in the work because it's not exciting. And that's where I feel like I am with my journey. I've gone through many moments of the I've gone through many moments of, we'll just call it a freak out, because there are a lot of things going on in our world right now that I have absolutely zero control over, and I feel like they are affecting my day-to-day life. Case in point, gas prices have gone up, and as somebody who lives in Southern California and who drives a lot, especially for my work as an artist, for auditions and classes and all that stuff, it hit me pretty hard. And so it's so trying to deal with situations that, like I said, I have no control over, and then also remaining positive and grounded and not getting sucked into the feeling sorry for myself, because I feel that we should always be honest with ourselves. If life is not good, don't say life is good, right? But if you're constantly telling everybody how horrible everything is, and you let that suck you into a abyss that is very, very enticing, and I've been there, it's hard to make changes. So it's acknowledging what's wrong, acknowledging what's screwed up, acknowledging what I have absolutely no control over, and then seeing what I can do to try and make things better. So that's where we're at here in the second week of April.
Good heavens, child. Are you all right? There was a bee.
The last 2 months of videos, basically you're seeing that I make very little reselling, even though that's basically what I'm doing on this channel. Once in a while, I'll sprinkle in a couple of clips of me singing, or I did this really fun voiceover class at SAG, not yesterday, last week. And I'll post a little clip of it.
Not one based on Paul? You don't want to ride with Paul or Sarah. Not today, anyway. And you don't want to rate based on Ben. He's got some important business to take care of. Why would you pay a rate based on anyone else? With you're connected to a rate based on you.
Yeah, so why should you watch these videos? I have no idea. But I feel that in the world that we're in 2026, it just feels like a lot of videos, especially on reselling, especially if that is going to be a like second job or a side job, or we're in a gig economy. Ugh, I hate that word. It's like, I feel that when I first started, at least, and even now, there's a lot of people telling you what to do and who are like killing it and making a crap ton of money and six figures for part-time work. And I'm just like, that's not my reality. My reality is that I have created this business and I love it. I love saving things from the landfill. I love spending an afternoon at the bins and just digging through and seeing just the crazy shit that I find. Like, it's not even just to sell. Like, this is from the bins. It's from the Beatles love show that was in Vegas, which I saw before it left. And I loved it. Oh my gosh, it was such an amazing experience. And then, here it is in the bins, just ready for me. But I also, like, last Thursday I went and like I found a Rubik's Cube for my boyfriend. And I found a whole bunch of like blank coloring books, vintage, for a friend of mine's daughter. So it's like, you never know what you're going to find. So I love sifting through everything. And then I love like looking up stuff and learning about the history of things. And then I love reselling them because I love when I get those messages about when, somebody was looking for something. So the bottom line is I love it, but it's basically like me doing a part-time job, like when I was at Starbucks. Maybe a little less consistent because at least at Starbucks, I knew how much money I would be getting at the end of the week. But, I feel like, as you see, the devil is in the details. When I did my like gross profit for March, it was like over $1,000, and I was like, that's great, extra 1,100. It was like 1,100 something, and I was like, that's so awesome. Like, that's a great extra gig. But then when you get down to the nitty gritty and you take away everything, including taxes, which I had to do this week, in which I'm still kind of like still consoling myself over.
But I don't want no government agents taking my money.
Yeah, it was hard opening up that bag of chips and eating our way to the bottom.
Relax. The IRS isn't going to take all of our money. They're only going to take half.
Because doing self-employment taxes is like, especially when you're an artist and not an accountant. But I don't want to pay somebody to do it because I already have to pay to like do it on TurboTax for myself. So yeah, sorry, I digress. Like, taxes, so much fun. Anyways, once everything like that is taken out, including taxes, the amount that you take home when all is said and done, your what they call the net profit is just like so much less. And it really has taken these like videos that I'm doing for it to like hit home to me. So if anything, like, I'm spending all this time editing and recording and nobody's watching these videos, but you know what? Like, I'm learning a lot. And plus I make my boyfriend watch it. And I learn a lot about how I interact, especially speaking of, the fact that I use the words like and a lot. I believe that's a California thing, or at least I will pretend it's a California thing. I'm California, born and raised. I've been on tour before. I've actually been to every state in the United States. Whenever anybody asks me what my like weird fact about me is, or fact you wouldn't know, like, I always tell them that I've been to every single state in the United States. But you cannot get the California out of the girl. So, but my boyfriend was like, it's kind of getting annoying. And then I'm watching my videos and I'm like, yeah, it is very annoying. So we're learning. We're learning, and I'm very aware of my ums and my likes. I'm still going to probably do them, but you know, not I'm trying to think. This last week has been crazy. I feel like I say that every week. Last week especially was like really busy with my other career as an artist. I took quite a few classes. I also like had some readings that I was a part of and like all the fun stuff. I got to sing. So I'm very grateful, but I'm also extremely tired, and I did very little with reselling, which seems to be a theme, which is good. I make my primary income as an artist, so it's very important to me, even though I love reselling. So, you know, doing well with that is very important. But we'll see what happens this week with sales. And I would like to get back to listing stuff, because if you've watched any of my videos, you will know that I have a lovely death pile that I'm trying to get rid of. My boyfriend and I both did a bingo card New Year's resolution this year. And on my bingo card is to get everything listed from my death pile. Also, as like a business, it's like stupid. We'll just use the word stupid because it's true, for me to just have stuff laying around.
Think about that. That's just dumb.
If I'm not going to list it, then it'll be better used if I donate it, or if I give it to somebody, or if I like it's not here just laying around doing nothing, or listed so that I can be sold and go to a new home. So that's, and then, you know, I went to the bins last Thursday, as I mentioned, and I did pick up a couple things. I've been talking so much about the economy because I'm stressed out about it. I'm sure everybody else is. And, you know, that's an opinion. Some other people may be doing really well. I'm stressed out about it. Costs seem to be going up, up. Oh, and, you know, the post office is going to increase their prices by 8%. No biggie. Especially for somebody who does flat rate shipping on eBay, where I have to buy shipping labels, and like realizes 9 times out of 10 I charge less than I actually pay for the shipping label. So much fun. Within that stress, I've been also like doing some research just on YouTube, because it's free, about like what the new trends are for this year. Like apparently, according to the YouTube people, who I don't know who they are and what their background is or where they're getting this information. But anyways, polka dots are in, lace is in, sheer is in. I'm trying to think of like, oh, there's like a whole bunch of things that are like leather jackets, balloon pants. So I was very conscious of that when I went to the bins and picked up stuff to resell. I also was more conscious about things that people might need. Like, you know, as I mentioned on last week, like, how do I make this beneficial not only for me, but for the person who's buying, if their money is also being stretched thin as mine is. And it's like, you know, people have to buy baby and kids clothes. Okay, how can I bundle those together so somebody could get a better deal since shipping's so high? Or, you know, if somebody's going to go to Disneyland or to sports, like, I wanted to say show. This is how well versed in sports I am. Like a baseball game, you know, they want to be decked out in gear because they're supporting their team. Well, I personally think the best way to find that is to like go online, especially now. There are so many deals to be had. So how do we find ways around when money is tight for everybody to make it beneficial not only for myself but for the buyer? So, and then additionally, lastly, on my soapbox, I, as I mentioned, am very big on empathic capitalism, trying to make that a thing. You know, it's probably going to be like fetch.
That is so fetch. Gretchen, stop trying to make fetch happen. It's not going to happen.
But anyways, I am trying to not only find times to volunteer and give back some of my time, even though I don't have a lot of it, but also to figure out how to like give back when you are limited on funds. A couple weeks ago, I brought pizzas to the employees at the Goodwill bins, just, randomly. And it was so much fun. I loved it. They were so appreciative. But unfortunately, I can't do that for everybody. So I was thinking, like, how can I like try and encourage like taking care of each other, giving back, doing little acts of kindness. And so I'm thinking maybe like I make a mean chocolate chip cookie. The recipe is from used to be on the back of the Trader Joe's chocolate chips. Now I go to this website called Whisking Mamas. It's the best chocolate chip cookie recipe ever. I will put the link in the description. Maybe I can bring some cookies to the employees at the post office, because even though the post office is increasing their prices, at least the local one for me, I have noticed that they have like, it looks like they've cut the hours of some of the employees because they are constantly like short-staffed. There is always a line out the door recently in the last like month or so. And it sucks because you can tell how stressed out they are. There's like one person behind the desk and people have 50 million things, including like passports and questions and mail being lost and all this stuff. And they're having to deal with it and people are waiting in line forever. So I was like, okay, maybe I can bring some cookies. It's a small post office. Like I think you're not allowed to pay more than like, what is it, $20 for federal employees? Insert many thoughts here. So maybe I can just bring them some cookies next week and report back. And, maybe they'll think I'm the biggest idiot on the planet. There have been times where I've like brought cookies to random places, or especially like places of business, and they're like, okay. And I'm like, what are you going to do? But if I really want to make this a thing, because right now I just feel like we're in a culture that has become a little bit more selfish and, dare I say, cruel. And so how do we counteract that? And by we, I mean me, because that's all I have control over. So that's the game plan. And that's pretty much it. Okay, for a little bit of housekeeping. Basically, what I do is the sales are for the day that I take them to the post office. So technically, when I say the sales for Monday, it just means the sales that were over the weekend. What I'm doing just for the weekly sales is getting to something I like to call the pre-net, which is a phrase I coined, unless I heard it somewhere else and pretended that I coined it. What that means is that I'm taking the amount of money that the buyer is paying, and I'm taking out the platform fees. I'm taking out any shipping labels that I have to purchase, and also any commissions that I have to pay out. I do sell some things on consignment for a few friends, but it does seem to be like I'm selling a lot more things on consignment weekly. So, and that basically is a 50-50 split after the fees and the shipping labels are taken out. So, and then we get to our pre-net for the week. Then after the month is over, I take all of those pre-nets for those weeks, I add that up, and then I take out the other things that need to be taken out, like cost of goods, like subscriptions, like shipping supplies I may have to purchase, and also withholding for taxes. And then we get to as close to a net profit as my tiny brain can figure out. And then we see the difference between the gross profit and the net profit, which tends to be like this. So that's basically it. So let's get to business, because nobody's watching these videos, so why make them 15 hours long? On Monday, the Monday after Easter, I had 5 sales. 4 on eBay and 1 on Poshmark. First one was a 2007 Kitty Dale paper doll book. This was one of my mom's. My mom collected paper doll books. She loved them. So I have been selling them off slowly but surely. It sold for $30 with $7 shipping, and eBay released $31.59. I believe this was a repeat buyer, and they gave me positive feedback. So thank you so much. I'm so happy that these paper doll books are going to a good home. Next, we have a vintage 90s Logo 7 Clippers shirt that sold for $12 with $5.75 shipping. eBay released $14.94. Then we have a cable and gauge white blouse that sold for $10 with $4 shipping. eBay released $11.70. Then we have a pajamagram leopard print pajama button-up top that sold for $13 with $4 shipping, and eBay released $14.30. Then on the Poshmark, I sold 2 Disneyland pressed pennies. One was of Splash Mountain, which is no longer there, and a Star Wars one, and they sold for $10, and Poshmark released $7.05. So the total that was released to me from the platforms for Monday was $79.58. Of course, we have to take out 4 shipping labels, which were $5.78, $5.27, $5.77, and $5.77. And that left us with a pre-net of $56.99. Woohoo! On Tuesday, we had 2 sales, and they were both on Poshmark, so I didn't have to purchase any shipping labels. The first was a vintage Ralph Lauren red cropped button-up top, and that sold for $19, and Poshmark released $15.20. And then I'm going to butcher this pronunciation, but a set of 2 Canali 1934 silk ties. 1934 was like the brand from Canali, but these are pretty high-end ties. And they sold for $30, and Poshmark released $24 to me, which gives us a lovely pre-net for Tuesday of $39.20. On Wednesday, we had 2 sales, both from eBay. We had a 2024 Barbie Dreams Besties nude Renee doll that sold for $10 with $6 shipping, and eBay released $13.43. Then we have a Lily Pulitzer Kids blue top. It sold for $10 with $5 shipping, and eBay released $12.63. So what was released to me from eBay was $26.06, but we had 2 shipping labels to take out, which were $6.22 and $5.52, which leaves us with a lovely mediocre pre-net of $14.32. So maybe I can buy 2 bottles of water at Disneyland and maybe a pickle. On Thursday, we had 3 sales, and those were all 3 on eBay. We have a Claim Jumper Major League Baseball Angels double-sided bucket hat that sold for $15 with $4.50 shipping, and eBay released $16.46. Then we have a vintage Juicy Couture ruffled top. It did have holes in it, which I disclosed, and it sold for $16 with $4.75 shipping, and eBay released $17.56. Then we have a pair of Children's Place new with tags girls doodle jeans. Super cute. They sold for $10 with $5.50 shipping, and eBay released $12.97. So the money released to me was $46.99, minus the 3 shipping labels for $78, $5, and $6.24, with a pre-net of $30.97. So then we have our pre-net for the week, which was better than last week, and that was $141.48. So we're averaging around the $100 mark, somewhere between like $100 and $150 in general. There's been like 1 or 2 weeks that have been more. Can that be better? 100. I keep saying, like, I set the shipping costs because calculated shipping on eBay, at least for me, has been a nightmare. So I tend to just set the amounts. And I don't update them. So like when you see like $4 shipping, that means I've had something for a while because $4 shipping was reasonable. But I'm realizing that even now recently, like my brain really hasn't caught up with how expensive the labels are because I'm still undercutting myself. That Children's Place pair of girls' jeans I found in the bins, and that was like a recent pickup, and I set it for like $5.50 shipping, and in reality it was over $6. So I'm still like shorting myself, which then I still end up having to pay for in the long run. And that could be an advertising tactic. You know, if people think that the shipping cost is less, then they're more likely to purchase it because the overall cost will be less. But that means that I'm taking home less at the end of the day. And I'm not trying to play any games with shipping. I hate shipping as it is. Not that I hate shipping, I actually enjoy it. I usually put like, I'm always like learning lines or learning music for something. And so I put an earbud in and I put my like line learner app, which is an app that I use that helps me learn lines, or I'll put the music on and I'll do that as I'm packing. So it's a way for me to multitask, so to speak. But I hate shipping costs. Like I enjoy the process of shipping for the most part, unless there's something that is like really fragile and I'm stressed out about it getting there in one piece. I don't think my brain has really like come to terms with how expensive shipping is. And that's really needs to be a factor because that's going to factor everything from what I pick up, like how big it is, how heavy it is, to you know, the amount that I charge for it. Side note, if you do not resell or you purchase things online secondhand, eBay is awesome for anything under a pound. Poshmark is better for anything that's over, like shoes, coats. It's better for the seller. Why? Because Poshmark has a flat 5-pound shipping label that they send you, and it's a flat rate that you pay for shipping. It's a little bit more expensive. So if you're purchasing something under a pound, like a lot of people list both on eBay and Poshmark, I'd purchase it on eBay if it's under a pound, because then the seller can purchase a cheaper label than the Poshmark label. But if it's over a pound, like a coat or shoes or something like that, Poshmark is your best option because of that flat like shipping label, and it just makes it more beneficial for both the buyer and the seller, because what Poshmark can send on a 5-pound label, I cannot. I just sold a metal lunchbox this week and it was like 2 pounds, I think, and it went pretty far, and it wasn't like super big, but it ended up costing me like 13 something, and that's way more than what a Poshmark label would have been. So anyways, food for thought. So the montage keeps going. I don't know what like my montage music would be. Would it be like classic 80s, 90s music? Maybe some Cyndi Lauper, maybe some She Works Hard for the Money, some kind of inspirational music. Yeah, I don't know. But I'm very passionate about this. And even if nobody ever ends up watching these and I make 1,500 videos and I still have, I think right now I have 2 subscribers, which by the way, thank you. Then you know what? I still will have learned things. And so that's where we're at. And we'll try and make these videos more exciting. Or not. But I hope everyone is doing okay out there. If you made it to the end of this, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Stay safe and sane out there. No need to smash a like button or subscribe or do anything. There's no affiliate link. There's no commercial. There is no Patreon. I've got nothing to sell you. I feel like everybody wants you to do something. They either want you to do something or they want you to pay for something. And I'm like, you know what? Life is stressful enough. Just you watching this, even if it's hate watching, I appreciate. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful week. Let's see what happens next week. And Carpe Diem.